Ambassador Zethkar had seen many species rise and fall across the galaxy's political landscape, but none quite like the humans. The reptilian diplomat adjusted his ceremonial scales as he prepared to address the Galactic Council about what had transpired at Kepler 442b. "Esteemed colleagues," Zethkar began, his voice carrying the weight of centuries, "I stand before you today to explain why the hegemony will never again challenge a human colony." The assembled representatives from dozens of species leaned forward. The hegemony was known for its military prowess. Their conquest of the Altarian system had taken mere days. Yet here was their ambassador, speaking of retreat. "3 cycles ago, we identified Kepler 442b as a strategic resource planet. Our scouts reported a small human settlement, perhaps 10,000 individuals scattered across basic agricultural domes. Standard protocol suggested a simple occupation." Zethkar's mandibles clicked nervously. "We were mistaken in our assessment." The crystalline delegate's form shimmered. Surely 10,000 primitives posed no threat to the hegemony's Third Fleet. "That," Zethkar replied, "is what Admiral Korvex believed when he deployed our ships." The memory still haunted him. Kepler 442b had appeared defenseless. No orbital platforms, no energy shields, no obvious military installations. The human colony's response to their surrender demands had been a simple transmission: "We respectfully decline." "Our fleet assumed standard bombardment positions," Zethkar continued. "What happened next defied all military doctrine we knew. The humans had done something unprecedented. Instead of fleeing or submitting, they had immediately begun what they called aggressive farming." "I do not understand this term," interrupted the methane-breathing representative. "Neither did we," Zethkar admitted. "Within hours of our arrival, every human on the planet had shifted to what they termed wartime protocols. But instead of weapons manufacturing or bunker construction, they began the most intensive agricultural operation our xenobiologists had ever witnessed. The humans had somehow triggered rapid growth in their crops using techniques that bordered on the impossible. Every available space was converted to food production. Even their children worked the hydroponic towers that seemed to spring up overnight. We monitored their communications," Zethkar explained. "They spoke of something called Earth history and referenced events called sieges. They seemed excited." Admiral Korvex had been puzzled but not deterred. He had ordered the bombardment to commence, targeting the agricultural domes first to force surrender through starvation. That was when the humans revealed their true nature. "The moment our first plasma bolt fired," Zethkar's voice dropped to a whisper, "every human on that planet smiled. Every single one. Our psychological warfare specialists detected it through their bioscanners. 10,000 humans facing orbital bombardment, and they were happy. The bombardment had destroyed approximately 30% of their food production capability. Standard doctrine suggested the colony would surrender within days. Instead, the humans had done something that still gave Zethkar nightmares. They had started sharing. Not just sharing their remaining food, he clarified to the confused assembly. They began rationing with a precision that our best logistical computers couldn't match. Elderly humans gave their portions to younger ones. Adults worked longer shifts on reduced calories. Children were fed first, but only enough to maintain health. Every gram was calculated. But that wasn't the worst part. They began to sing, Zethkar said, his scales rippling with remembered fear. 10,000 humans facing starvation sang while they worked. Our cultural analysts identified the songs. They were called work songs and battle hymns. Songs about perseverance, about enduring hardship, about, he paused, struggling with the concept, finding joy in struggle. Admiral Korvex had increased the bombardment, expecting to break their spirit. Instead, the humans had adapted faster. They developed new growing techniques overnight. They repurposed debris from destroyed domes into more efficient shelters. When their power grid was damaged, they built manual systems. When their water recycling failed, they constructed purification systems from salvaged parts. Every challenge we presented, Zethkar explained, every system we destroyed, every resource we denied them, they found a way to do more with less. And they kept singing. The siege had continued for 2 months. The hegemony supplies began running low, but the humans showed no signs of surrender. If anything, they seemed to be thriving. Our intelligence reports became increasingly disturbing, Sethkar admitted. The humans weren't just surviving our siege. They were using it as what they called a team-building exercise. They formed committees. They held elections for resource allocation. They started educational programs for their children about siege survival techniques. The breaking point had come when the humans had sent a transmission to the hegemony fleet. They thanked us, Sethkar said, his voice barely audible. They thanked us for the excellent training exercise and asked if we could make it a bit more challenging, because their children were getting bored. The Galactic Council sat in stunned silence. Admiral Korvax ordered full withdrawal that day, Sethkar concluded. Our xenopsychologists spent months analyzing the data. Their conclusion was unanimous. Humans are the only species that becomes more dangerous when placed under extreme stress. They don't just survive hardship, they weaponize it. The crystalline delegates' form dimmed. What became of the colony? They sent us a gift, Sethkar replied, producing a small package. Seeds from their modified crops, along with a note saying they hoped we could visit again soon for another fun challenge. He looked around the assembly. The hegemony formally recommends that all Galactic Council members classify human colonies as do not disturb unless absolutely necessary. And if you must interact with them, Sethkar's scales rippled one final time. Bring snacks. They'll share whatever they have, but they'll expect you to contribute to the potluck.